Community has become a bit of a buzzword, and maybe that's for good reason. You could argue the whole idea of having a group of people to hang out with, laugh with, grow with, and ultimately belong with is at the core of our human existence. Communities tend to form around circumstance. Being in the same place, going to the same school, or having the same last name. These are all great reasons to bond together. But there's something different about the group you're seeing right here. What binds them together is more than just circumstance. It's a shared love. Love for an activity that takes you hundreds of feet up in the air and has you balancing on a 1-inch thick piece of webbing. Love for a city that allows you to spend your morning walking across the water, all before your 9 a.m. meeting. Love for, well, there's really no other word for it. A lifestyle. In his book Tribes, author Seth Godin once wrote that communities are, quote, a group of people connected to one another, connected to an idea, and connected to a leader. Wade is one of those leaders.
Going off on these crazy philosophic tangents, man!
Wade helped launch the Steel City Slackers, and he plays an essential role in organizing highlining events, training new members on how to go out onto the line safely, and ensuring the community is an inclusive and welcoming environment.
I found Slackline from a friend, and I'd sort of, try it here and there, and I was like, this is cool, but I'm not crazy about it. There was one weekend in October where he was like, oh man, there's this big Highline gathering happening. You gotta come. It's gonna be awesome. They're the longest lines. They're some of the best people in the world. You gotta come. We went, and I was not prepared for how grand the whole thing was gonna be.
Wade is a bit of a Highline guru. After talking to him for just a few minutes, you can tell how truly dedicated to the sport he is.
This is a literal visual representation of my mind. Obsessive, insane, and over the top. Man, I will never get bored.
So, let's take a step back here. The sport of highlining is an evolution of another outdoor sport, slacklining, where you basically take a piece of webbing and suspend it between two anchor points, usually trees. From there, you pull the line tight and attempt to walk across without falling. Highlining is a lot like that, except it's higher. A lot higher. Highlining isn't exactly a mainstream sport, at least not yet. Most of the initial interest came from slackliners and rock climbers looking to experiment a bit. Enter Travis.
I worked over at the EQT building, and my lunch breaks consisted of biking over to Point State Park and rigging up 140-foot long lines.
He shared this on Facebook and invited others to join him. Two other slackliners, Darcy and Bronson, took him up on his offer.
They came out and did some long lines with me, and that kind of built that initial community of there are other slackliners in Pittsburgh that will slackline with me.
This small group wanted to find other highliners and more locations to set up lines. As luck would have it, Darcy knew just the people, place, and time. Two highliners out of DC, Ethan and Hy, were planning a trip down to West Virginia. When Darcy reached out to learn more, the Pittsburgh group was invited to tag along.
And that's when I met Wade for the first time. That's when I met Adam for the first time. Bethany, Bronson, Ethan, all of these people. So everything kind of evolved from that point because we came to this gathering and we realized that there's other people that slackline in Pittsburgh.
We came back and the community just started taking off. And I think it was all of the excitement that we had, so the passion we had over this sport, the community that we had, and the access we had to being able to do it on a regular basis that is essentially built for the foundation for Steel City Slackers.
The group was energized. They had the access, they had momentum, and now they had the people.
15 years I had climbed and never thought that I was going to see something that would stun me like that. And much less to the degree when I got on one of the lines, feel a sense of
So when you are instinctively afraid, but realistically, highlining is very safe. You have no reason to be afraid. You're automatically put into this mindset of like learning how to control all of that.
There are these very instinctual, primitive fears that happen when you step out on a high line that's so just like extreme, and it's in the sense that it's just, what am I doing here? This is so high up and such a crazy place to be, and then to actually walk on the line, you have to just mute all that intensity and just walk.
No way right now. Fuck, I hate highlining. When you look out into space, your mind has a hard time figuring out exactly how to press down into gravity.
I'm just hanging out, chilling in the void. Here we go.
I want to know the anchor point.
We usually just use the bolts for the backup. Same bolts, but you can also attach to this span set here.
Is that all right?
The process of putting up a high line, building the anchors, pulling the line across, and applying tension is called rigging. The gear needed to rig these lines, it's heavy, as is having the lives of others depend on your handiwork. To highline is to trust those who built the line.
What's this big green guy?
Big 12-foot span set, and it's gonna drop.
What is a span set?
It's a very strong static anchor material. We're gonna drop 2 of these around the head of this boulder. That'll be the primary anchor for the 150.
Watching the rigging process can be reassuring, but it also makes you realize this isn't an amusement park. There are no guarantees on the lines that have been built. You're quite literally putting your life on their line.
No, I think driving here is probably the most dangerous part about highlining. Personally, I'm a little bit sketched out about climbing, to be honest. Like in highlining, we make everything so redundant. Everything is doubled up. If anything fails, there's been half a dozen of cases where people's lives were saved because of the redundancy.
The close-knit nature of this community has a lot to do with the sport itself. Part of it is the trust you need to have in one another, and part of it is just the bond that comes out of doing something so extreme with another person. It doesn't take long until you feel completely at home with these people.
I'm about to play an old-time fiddle tune called Sal's Got Mud Between Her Toes. Good mountaintop music. Everybody's just really nice, right? When I met Wade, I was like, I'm just coming to Pittsburgh to like buy this bike. And he's like, well, let's just rig like a bunch of slacklines and get up at 5 in the morning and like rig a sick line. And and now we're just friends. Doing all these activities where you have to have full commitment. You know, you want to stand up on a high line, you gotta be in it to win it. You're like, I'm going to the other side. I'm going over there. That's what I was not like earlier. When you guys were filming it, I was like, I don't have it in me right now. Doing these things gives you an awareness of yourself, just more aware of how I feel. Like when's the right time to go for things. And somehow I still like can't figure out how to put that knowledge into a romantic context. Don't know the right time about that. There are little shoestrings in the sky.
I think the type of mentorship that I received from the Steel City Slackers was unlike anything that I ever thought that I would experience or deserve. Why would someone take time to mentor me? And then I met these people, and they are so willing to give their time, their emotional energy into helping me find my place in the slackline community and helping me find my way as just a person, as just a human.
And sometimes people ask us, like, well, how did Pittsburgh get all of these people? And for a while I was like, I don't really know. But I've realized, like, us as a group, we've built it. Like, we've rigged things, we've had weekly meetups, we do workshops here. Like, we've been visible and we put so much energy into just creating it. And people come.
It's crazy to see in like 2 years' time, this place has transformed. Like, it took some work to put this place on the map, but it is here.
I'd love for there to be like a formal relationship with the city. I'd love for the city to recognize us the way that frisbee golf got implemented in Shenley Park, or mountain biking in Frick, and kayaking on the rivers, all these endless examples of Pittsburgh saying, this is a cool activity, and we have a unique platform for people to do it regularly. Welcome to our city.
I'm so deeply satisfied with my connections and my community around me that, I don't know, home feels so warm and nice to me and secure that I love traveling, but Pittsburgh is like so special to me now, more than I ever thought it would be, ever.
This story doesn't really have an end because the Steel City Slackers are just getting started. They're growing, taking their passion for the sport to a larger audience, inviting everyone to join in, and building a culture that allows for all people to experience the joy of being out on the line.